Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Ewoks in the Park. It's me, JT, tuning in with you tonight, and of course, the master of all information to this kind of thing, the one and only Sully. He is with me also. Tonight, we're going to be reviewing episodes 3 and 4 of Andor. I'm really loving it so far. How about you? Do me a favor, grab yourself some adult beverages or whatever it is you want to drink, something to munch on, and sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Sully, it's all yours.
Oh, yay! Thank you, JT. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Two Ewoks in the Park. It would have been 3, but I haven't heard from Western Echo, and it'd be a bummer. But I do have to say that he ripped me a new one for not remembering Stellan Skarsgård's name from last week's episode. So if you haven't watched it or listened to it, I'm sorry. Okay? I'm sorry.
He ripped you a new booty hole, huh?
He messaged me on Tuesday morning. He's like, how did you forget his name? Really? I was screaming at you while listening to this.
Well, see, if you would have been at the show, you could have fixed it for us.
Well,
but no, you got to do that freaking thing called work.
Stupid work.
Work's more important than two Ewoks in park.
Yeah, the nerve. But the good thing is he loved it. He loved what we were talking about. So he may be working right now. I don't know. It's kind of up in the air with his job. So things happen. Things happen.
He needs to sit there and tell him, look, Monday nights and Tuesday nights, I need to be home.
Off limits.
By 7. By 7 o'clock, I need to be home.
7 o'clock, I need to be home and not working. Not right. Working. Anyway, just wanted to let everybody know that, yes, he did say something to me about that. And rightfully so. I was dumb. So I accept my...
You weren't dumb. You were just forgetful. I'm the dumb one. I'm the dumb one. You're the forgetful one. And I won't say, actually, I can't say what Echo is live on air. So.
Oh, snap. Oh, snap. So anyway, tonight's episode, we are going to be talking about Andor episodes 3 and 4. Episodes 3 and 4. If you haven't watched them by now, shame on you. The show is almost over, which is why we're doing 2 episodes at once. And it's a little bit of a different format. It's more along the lines of we're talking about it. We're, doing whatever we need to, and so on and so forth. Want to say hi to Love Kid, who's chiming in our Twitch chat. Hello. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. I know you can't tune in tomorrow. I know. But it's all good. It's all good.
Thank you for tuning in, Love Kid. One night's better than no night.
Right? That's what I say. Better than nothing. It's better than nothing.
Exactly. So I gotta tell you this. I gotta before we dig into things here.
Okay.
I gotta say this. I'm digging the show. I really, really am. I'm really digging the show.
Digging the show.
But
want
to say hi to Becky. Just tuned in from YouTube.
Becky!
Said hi, Sally.
What's up, Becky? My buddy. My pal, my amiga.
The build up. The build up is
it driving you nuts?
it needs to be done next episode. There has not been a blaster shot since mid episode 3.
True.
Okay. And I mean, you know me, I'm an action guy. Yeah. I understand about, setting timeline and covering backstory and all that.
Sure.
But let's get some damn fighting going on.
JT wants to see things blow up.
I want to see shit blow up. I want to see stormtroopers or Imperial Guardsmen or whatever get blown on their ass. I want to see a headshot from a mile and a half away.
He wants to see people go boom. That's what he wants to see.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it though. And Kay made the comment tonight because we were watching it tonight, and she's like, "Them jumping back and forth this quickly is driving me crazy." Because
Yeah,
it was when the troopers were in his home and
yeah,
had his adopted mother basically, and they were searching the room and everything, and they kept jumping back and forth.
yeah, and it's
It got a little excessive for a few minutes there.
it does get a little excessive, but there's a reason for it. There's a huge
Oh, yeah,
reason for it. The cool thing about that is we're gonna see why there's a reason for it. My camera is like so off centered. It's not even funny. What the hell's going on here?
Well, you're off center too, so
I'm always off center. I mean, that's besides the point. I'm out there. I'm just, I'm gone. There is no cure for me.
If
Simple
there's
as
no cure for me, there sure as hell ain't. Well, actually, let me say it this way: if there's no cure for you, there sure as hell ain't a cure for me.
There you go. There you go.
Oh.
So,
Just saying.
In the long run, Becky's just laughing. It's true. Come on, it's true. You know I'm right. You can't really argue with me on that. You know I'm right. And let's face it, it's very rare I'm right. Just
Even though we tell you you're right, you're still not right.
Right? See what we did there? See what we did there? Right? So
And it's how we've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, no, not at all. No.
Becky says no argument here.
She's not wrong.
I like Becky. I like Becky already.
She's my buddy. So again, if you haven't watched Andor yet, for those that aren't Star Wars fans, that's okay.
We understand.
We don't mind. We know Star Wars is not for everybody.
Right.
But I will say this. If you do like spy type shows like Alias, you like spy movies like Mission Impossible,
Blacklist.
James Bond, Blacklist, anything like that.
Right.
This is right up your alley.
It really is, especially in these first 4 episodes.
Yes. Oh, trust me, it gets better.
I have no doubt on that. Just from the adventures that came about in episode 4, I have no doubt.
So I like to paint a picture that this is one of those shows that is the perfect crescendo type of show. The build up is you're just going up.
Yep.
More and more things are being revealed, and then you just start going down this roller coaster, and every episode is now starting to throw your twists and your turns.
Right. And the thing that I like about it is how it's following how should I say? It's following the classic guideline and kind of standards, I guess you could say, of a actual revolution, aka the Civil War.
Yes.
What did you have in the Civil War? You had spy. You had secret ways of communication. You had, all these little things going on right under their nose. You had false flag operations going on.
Yeah.
You had small bandit teams that would do freaking, night raids or whatever for the purpose of getting money or weapons or ammunition or food or whatever it might be. And they are following that. The classic, I don't want to say timeline, but the classic, I guess timeline kind of works with it.
It would be the classic timeline because this is, again, it's 5 years before Star Wars. And actually, if you think about it, because of Star Wars, it's 5 years before the events of Rogue One. So
exactly. Yeah, this is at 5 years pre Rogue One was the way the article that I read about it put it. It was 5 years before Rogue One.
and each season is supposed to be a year in Cassian's life. So,
Right.
Obviously right now they're only up with season 1 and season 2. Will there be more? I'm hoping, because you can technically do 3 seasons. Or at least the first 2 would be the first 2 years. And I mean, you could stretch this out.
Yeah. I mean, I would say in like in the 4th or 5th year, things would be happening really quickly. So you would probably be able to condense a 2-year time span into one 12-season episode.
Yeah. And if you think about it, you could probably end up where the last episode, like the actual last episode, depending on how many more seasons they do, would, in theory, end where Rogue One begins.
At the beginning of Rogue One, yep.
Or if you tie it around perfectly, you can end the episode with him being in the alley in Rogue One.
Yep.
And that way it just connects.
Because that's how Rogue One starts out, is with him in the alleyway going to meet the other guy. So that would be the ultimate. Okay, that's the one thing that I have to say about this, be it Star Wars or Avengers. Okay, they're tied into, say, like in this episode, it's tied into Rogue One, or it's tied into Civil War, or it's tied into Age of Ultron, or whatever. But they've never actually fully connected anything just yet. I would like to see that where the timelines actually meet.
Well, so okay. So just to kind of add to this for you. You have not watched Clone Wars.
Yes, I have.
You've watched every season of Clone Wars.
Oh, you mean Clone Wars the series?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Okay. So
I watched the movie, but I didn't watch.
Yeah, just to add to it for you. So the events of the Clone Wars TV show takes place between episodes 2 and episode 3. So you got Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, and you have every single episode, including the movie that was distributed by Warner Brothers, takes place in between those 2 movies.
So just to clarify, for me, I haven't seen one where they've tied them in. Apparently, they have with the Clone Wars TV series.
Right. So now, aside from that, you also had Rogue One. You also had Solo, a Star Wars story, which really does not have anything to really do with what's going on now. It really doesn't. It's just basically, hey, we wanted to do a story about how Han Solo met Lando Calrissian and got the Millennium Falcon and did whatever they needed to do.
That was a full backstory movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Instead of something that's going to tie into anything specific, that was a full backstory movie.
Right. Then you had Rebels.
Okay.
Now, Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, it's a TV show. It connected between Revenge of the Sith and technically Rogue One. Okay. This is going to connect to Rogue One, which will then connect to A New Hope, and so on and so forth. You've got all these different elements coming together. The Bad Batch, that's another show. Oh my God, if you haven't watched Bad Batch.
I've been watching Bad Batch.
I love Bad Batch. So we do see them actually connecting things. And you have to. You have to.
Right.
Just like
and that's been my biggest disappointment, but I didn't realize that those
it's
all were,
all interconnected, and a lot of people will say, you don't really have to watch this. No, you don't. You don't have to watch this.
Right.
But
it's cool if you do because it'll give you even more.
Exactly. It builds upon the, and I've been saying this for a long time now. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have basically said, fuck you, Disney, with your
Right.
legends.
Right.
We're bringing them into the fold.
Right. Don't care what you say. We're going to do what we want to. And you know what? We can because you can't afford to fire us.
Exactly. Because they're doing so well with doing things.
Yes,
Now,
they are.
in these two episodes, the first episode is, what did they title this? They titled this Reckoning. Episode 3 is Reckoning. And this entire episode is all about Caspian trying to avoid what's coming to him for the events from the previous two episodes.
Right.
One of which including the security force the security guards that he killed, they're after him against orders. And
Right.
And you have Stellan Skarsgård's character, which I don't want to screw up because I know Echo will say something.
He's going to come get you again.
He's going to kick my ass is what it is. Getting to the point where he's, going to meet Cassian and whatnot. So when it comes to this, yes, it's still a slow-moving episode. There's still a lot of backstory going on. You can see that Cassian is doing he's kind of surviving if you think about it. Kind of surviving.
Exactly what he's doing.
Calling in favors to things that he's done in the past. Right. Hey, you still owe me, or hey, no, I'm going to pay you, that type of thing. And we see him really start, the episode really starts out with him being in a salvage yard just collecting junk. Because he wants to have junk that he can sell off to people to make money and get the hell out of there. Right. Which is what a lot of scavengers do, especially in Star Wars. Yeah. I mean, you can just watch, The Force Awakens, the first 15, 20 minutes. And that's what scavengers do.
Just think about the Jawas.
Yeah, there you go.
That's all they do. That is their entire existence is scavenging.
Yeah. So for him, it's more along the lines of, hey, listen, I'm just going to get by and do what I need to do and get all these things working correctly, Right. Because I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
And somehow or another, he managed to get his hands on a very, very valuable, mint condition, if you want to put it that way.
Yep.
Near out of box condition, piece of Empire.
The Empire
equipment.
Yes.
And that is what's his name is coming into 5.
Yes. Which is good. We like that. We like seeing that. We also see Bix Colleen. She's in the episode this time around. Basically saying, "Hey, I'm here, and by the way, this is the guy you need to meet."
Right.
So we can see a lot of things going on, but also the security team is doing their investigation now, and they're going pretty much door to door. They're on a manhunt. They're on a manhunt.
Well, I wouldn't say they were going door to door. They knew specifically where they wanted to go with Cassian, the place where Cassian lived. They knew that. And then they had, what was it? They had an East security team and a West security team.
Yes.
And then they had the center security team.
Yeah.
And the center security team went to Cassian's place. The East security team went out to secure I want to say they went out to basically secure the area around a warehouse.
Yep.
And the West security team was just kind of doing a sweep. And what I thought was really cool was the emergency communications system that they had set up there, which was beating a specific code on metal.
I like that they did that.
And it just went they literally showed it going all the way through the town, almost tracing the steps of the West security and the Center security teams as they were moving through the city.
Yes.
And the assistant general inspector, the guy who was in charge of this whole unauthorized mission, was in the center going, what is that? What are they doing? He says, that it's just what do you say? They're just bluffing.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah,
but it just goes to show you what type of united town or settlement or community, I guess you could say.
Even though they weren't considered to be part of the rebellion or anything like that. That proved that they weren't really on the side of the Empire either, because the Empire was screwing them at the same time.
Yeah, and they were very they were very I don't want to say low key about it, but the fact that they use that
low key would be a good word.
The fact that they use that as a communication to hey, there's people here trying to get up in our business.
Right.
Hide your shit.
Right. Well, and part of it too is that the early warning system, if you want to call it that, was not necessarily for Cassian and his little crew. It was for everybody. It was for the entire town, because the entire town went on lockdown as this warning was going through the city.
Yeah, and I did notice, I just because you mentioned the lockdown, I did notice that any children that were out on the street, they were gone.
Oh yeah, disappeared.
They were in buildings, doors were getting shut. It was like the entire town was shutting down because you had these people in here.
And, you had restaurants and bars and everything. They showed them shuttering, putting the gate down and the whole nine yards.
It kind of reminded me of a scene from those old westerns.
Yep.
Trouble is a coming. Yeah.
Here come the bandits. Sound the alarm. Shut down the town.
Wyatt Earp and his band are gonna meet the cowboys down by the OK Corral, and we're gonna show them a good time. We're gonna shoot them up. They're carrying guns.
Show them a good time with hot lead.
Oh yeah. But that's one of the things that I really like about Star Wars is the comparison to all these different genres. Westerns, old samurai movies, like the old.
And that's kind of what I was talking about with the beginning, with the way they're following everything, during the Civil War with the spies and the network and all these different things. I think that's really cool how they're doing this. We've been talking about how Marvel has been staying so true to timelines,
or
and
close
even
to it,
though they've got political with it and everything else, but they're still hitting things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Star Wars is doing the same thing in a different area.
And you got to remember, with Star Wars, there's a lot of political overtones.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's naturally built into this show.
And that's one of the things that you kind of have, when watching these shows, you have to look past those political overtones. Mentioning them and referencing them, big difference. Very big difference. Because, I mean, if you think about it, the Empire itself is exactly that. There's one person who's ruling them all, and hey, you know what? Each planet's got a senator, a representative that goes. They still don't do shit.
Right.
I mean, hell, even in A New Hope, they disband the Galactic Senate.
Mm-hmm.
The Imperial Senate is gone. It's no more.
Right.
Governors will rule now.
I noticed it a little bit more with episodes 3 and 4, where what came to my mind was the security element
Yes.
that was on the planet. Okay, and they were in charge of security and doing galactic work and all that good crap.
Yep.
Basically, you could compare them to Parmar's security now. They're like the lowest level of security that you could possibly have. They are just there as a presence and to kind of keep the peace.
Yeah, they're what's it? Corporate Tactical Forces, I believe, is what they reference them as. So
Yeah,
so
CTF.
And for them, they were part of the Free Trade Union district,
Right.
Where I don't want to say they're security; they're more rent-a-cops than anything.
Well, that's what Parmar security is,
because they still answer to the Empire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not part of, but they still answer to.
You know, and when a blip shows up on the radar of the Empire, they're going to be there so fast, you're not even going to know what hit you. It's just one of those. Oh, okay. Well, for them, when they got to Ferrix, what is it? They had 3 different pods land with security personnel.
Yep, 3 different security groups,
and they're gonna go and do what they need to do.
Yeah, the East, the West, and the Center team.
Yep. And while that's happening, obviously Cassian is kind of, moving around, ignoring, trying to stay under the radar, and he's still supposed to meet with what's his name there?
Yeah.
Real? I think it's Real. I think they call him.
I can't even remember.
I think it's Real. I think so. So he's
he was during that time he was making his way to the warehouse for the meeting.
Yes, he was.
That was going to happen.
And it got to the point where they were basically moving in and squeezing the area dry, so to speak, because, well, let's face it, there's always one in every group that has to be jealous and screw it up. Hey, I'm going to report you. Thanks,
and
douche.
we called that last week, too.
We did.
We called that last week.
We did.
Granted, you already knew, but I didn't. But,
Well, yeah, because what was it? It was Bix's lover, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Tim Carlo.
Yeah. And the only good part about it is he got exactly what he deserved in the end.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say yes and no to that. Only because so here's the no. I get it. He was he did turn Cassian in. He reported that he was there on planet and that,
they gave him his name and everything because they came straight in, we have a warrant for Cassian Andor.
Yep. And he went,
I was like, oh shit, that's not good.
So I get it. I do.
But was it enough for him to die? I think is your question.
So here is where the conundrum is.
This is your moral dilemma here.
This is the moral dilemma.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say, for him to die,
mm-hmm.
Yes, that was mostly for Cassian's sake, I guess you could say. Payback's a bitch. No good deed goes unpunished, that type of thing, right?
Right.
But at the same time, he was saving Bix. So that's where the moral conundrum comes in.
I see what you're saying, but I think if you look at Bix, if you look at the way Bix was reacting as this was going on, and the way he was acting as this was going on, okay?
Yeah,
he apologized to her. He said, "I'm sorry," But in the back of his mind, he was like, "This son of a bitch is messing with my girl, and I don't want nothing to happen.
Right.
I'm going to turn his ass in." So his want for Nookie.
Well, he already got that.
Well, to continue getting it, his want for Nookie and his jealousy of that caused him to turn Cassian in.
Yeah, and I agree.
So for that, he deserved an ass kicking. The closest thing to an ass kicking that he received up to that point was Bix basically telling him to go F himself.
Yeah.
You know, she
figured it out.
She stuffed one of these down his pants. Okay.
She figured it out so fast it wasn't even funny.
Yeah. Well, look at the look on his face.
Yeah.
When all this when it all came together, this look on his he was oozing guilty as sin.
He knew. Like it wasn't even a matter of maybe she won't know. No, she knew. And she made it known that she
put
knew.
Together really, really quickly when the guy ran in and told her that they were there and had a warrant for him.
Yeah. You're all gonna die. Don't kill
for me, and you know me, I'm kind of an extreme guy.
No.
If any of you who are watching have watched the Sully show, you know that I'm a guy who doesn't mess around.
It's true.
For me, if they caught you on camera shooting somebody or running somebody over in the street or whatever, not going to waste jail time, not going to waste court time.
Nope.
Not going to do any of that. We're just going to take you out back and freaking put a bullet between your eyes.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, dude turned in her best friend.
Yes. And possibly former lover. I'm going to say possibly former lover.
Possibly former, yeah.
They have history.
We'll stay with best friend for now. Possible former lover, but best friend.
They have history.
Yeah, they do. You could tell by the way they looked at each other when they were when they met.
Cassian, Bix.
But dude turned him in.
Yeah.
So if it's me, I would have been like, dude, give me the gun. I'll shoot his ass.
Hence the moral conundrum.
Exactly. Because they had slammed her up against the wall. She had a cut on her face. She was bleeding. They had her basically handcuffed to the wall.
Yeah.
He's coming down the stairs and said, "Hey, leave her alone. And the dumbass in the back, who's trigger happy and scared shitless,
yep,
pulled the trigger and killed.
I will say this, though. They
Here's a good shot.
They shoot better than the stormtroopers.
He did.
Yes.
The other ones that we see as the episode goes on, not as much.
Yeah, no.
Not so much.
No. And we didn't even get to stormtroopers yet. They're not even there yet.
Right. And you could tell by her reaction that, she had feelings for him and everything. Yeah, he betrayed her. He betrayed her friend and everything. But did he really need to die?
Hence the moral conundrum.
Right. In my opinion, yes. In Sully's opinion, yeah, but
no, yes, no, make up your mind, Gemini, that type of thing.
And Bix's reaction may have just been because he was really good in bed.
Listen, she loved him. She did. She loved him. That's perfectly fine. Yeah. It's all a matter of perspective. And in this type of story.
Yeah, there's always a traitor.
Yeah.
There's always somebody who turns into a traitor, be it for money, for jealousy, or just because they're assholes. And there's always a traitor.
And this guy, for Tim Carlo to do what he did, that was straight out of jealousy. He wanted Cassian gone and out of the picture.
Yeah. Okay? And if he would have waited a couple of days, he would have been.
Yeah. So now we've got we've got the scavengers helping out. We've got alarms going off all over the place. We got 3 different security teams moving in. The manhunt is full into effect.
Yep.
And Cassian is in a warehouse. Waiting. Just waiting. This is where, for me, this is kind of that turning point for the episodes. Because now we're starting to get into some real good action.
Yeah, it was building in one way to this point in the show.
Yeah.
And from this point on, it's building in a different way.
Yes.
And if you watch the episodes from 3 and 4, you'll see the change in direction of the way that they're building things up.
Yeah, and
feel it.
Well, and that's the thing, it's very, slow moving, very very.
I don't know if I would say slow moving. I would say it's very deliberate.
Yes. Okay.
Very deliberate in the way that they're doing things now.
So now we're at the point where Cassian is going to make the deal. He's going to sell this unit.
Right. Cassian's in the warehouse. The center team that has the head guy with them, they're in Cassian's house, going through his room and everything, dumping all of his stuff out. They've got Mama there.
Yeah.
Asking her, where is he? Where is he? The sergeant notifies him that there's another occupant, which is the robot. And the robot, robot gets scared, almost starts to talk to Mama, says, "No, you don't have to." And he stops. But then the worst thing that Cassian could do happened.
Yeah.
Because Cassian called the robot to find out what was going on because dude wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
And they had a tracer and they were able to trace his direction, where his signal came from and everything. They sent the East team to go around and secure this area and wait for them to get there. And I'll let you take it from it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's real simple. They got surrounded. I mean, you can't mess this up. They got surrounded. They got surrounded and war. This isn't even a fight. This is explosions and escaping and all of this good stuff.
Giant, heavy freaking things falling that were suspended by chains, falling down and
crushing people.
And the sergeant's like, "I told you to wait for us," and they didn't even have a chance to turn around and say, "They started it.
I started the fight. They're pointing fingers at you."
But I love how we did it though, because they got there, and they were meeting and they were talking, and Cassian pulls the gun and he's holding it to his head, saying, "Who are you? How do you know me? Blah blah blah."
Yeah.
And it gets to the point where he's like, "How were you planning to get out of here?" And Cassian's like, "Well, the way I came.
The way I came in."
There goes that. Well, it turns out that the older guy set explosives on the door to create his own way out,
which was perfect planning for Rail's point of view.
Yes,
he wasn't going to get stuck there. He's been doing this too long. This is a security force. I'm good.
Well, and this is where we find out that he's not really there for the equipment.
Nope.
He doesn't care about the piece. He doesn't care about this box that would give his fledgling rebellion position of every star unit within 9 parsec or something like that.
Yes.
Within a bigger, he wasn't there for that.
It was coming.
He was there for Cassian.
Absolutely. Because
he thinks Cassian would be helpful.
I don't care about that crap. I just want you.
Mm-hmm. He's like, "Leave the equipment. Don't worry about it." And of course he has to go back for it. So then the battle gets even worse and he gets trapped and then he gets hit.
Yep.
And they had a sniper up on the second floor that nobody knew about. So.
And they took care of him.
It got good. It got really good. They basically collapsed the building in on top of them.
Yeah. Not just that, but they blew up some city blocks too.
Yeah.
Which was amazing in and of itself. Obviously, some security force personnel died or got severely hurt. And you know, Cassie and Rail got away. They got away. Simple as that. They got away on a speeder, and that's where the episode ended. And I thought it was interesting that it felt a lot quicker of an episode. It really did.
It felt like it. And that was because the last 15 minutes was all action.
Yeah.
It was quick moving. It was, and the part that was messing Kate up was Mama Bear.
Yep.
Flashing back to when she found him.
Oh, yeah.
She and her, I don't know who he was, her partner, were out scavenging, and they happened to be in the same ship that Cassian was in, and Cassian just went nuts because he saw his shadow, or he saw his reflection.
Oh, yeah.
And he was going nuts, just busting shit up, and she, well, I can't leave him. He's a kid. The Imperial forces are going to kill him. Blah, blah, blah. She drugged him, knocked him out, and, took him home and raised him and all that good stuff, and she's flashing back and forth, and he's flashing back and forth, because, when I like how they ended the episode, though.
Yeah.
Because Cassian and the other guy, I can't think of his name. What's the other guy's name?
Rail.
Cassian and Rail escaped on the speeder. I loved how they did it because they sent the car down the middle of the road and all the forces are shooting it and everything, and they finally stop it. And then it blows up and really messes up, if not kills, 3 of their guys. And then they come flying out on a speeder bike and they're gone. They get to the ship, they get on the ship, they go. And as Cassian's sitting there as they're going up, the sun starts shining through the windshield. And he flashes back to when he woke up on Mama Bear's ship way back when.
Oh, yeah.
That was the same. That was what he saw then, was the sun shining through the windshield.
Yeah.
And that's where they ended episode 3.
Which is great.
Very neat ending.
It was a very good ending. Because, we go right into episode 4 where they're on the ship. Yep. They're doing their thing. They're talking, they're bonding, they're doing what they need to do. And Rel just comes out and says it. Hey, listen, do you want to, mess with the Empire? And
do you really want to stick it to them, or you just want to keep cutting the weak chaff off of the edges?
And oh, by the way, we'll pay you very well. I mean, listen, if that was me, I'd be like, okay, sure. I'll get paid
I'll
for
forget 200,000 credits.
Yeah, okay, bring it on. What do I got to do?
That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
you can live pretty good on 200,000 credits.
Make you rich is what it do.
If you invest it properly in the stock market, and do they still have the stock market back then?
Not in Star Wars. Star Wars, it's something different, but but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, he told him, he says, "Look, I want to hire you. I think you can be of a great benefit to us.
And oh, by the way,
I know your history, and oh, by the way, we'll pay you." And Cassian's like, "Well, what's the job?"
Yeah. What do I got to do? Well, you just got to.
And what did Real say to that?
Basically, you just got to do what you're told.
But what's the job? What did he tell him the job was?
Oh,
stealing that sector's quarterly pay.
Oh yeah, the quarterly pay. Yeah.
Yep.
Which for them, the quarterly pay was in the millions.
Yep. That would go a really, 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 really long way.
Oh yeah.
For them to build up.
Oh, and by the way, you can get 200,000 credits out of the deal too.
Right. If you live.
If you live. Yep.
If you live.
If you live. So at that time, unfortunately, the ISB, which is the Imperial Security Bureau, underneath the Emperor, underneath, basically everyone. They're the go-to cops. They're the cops. They're the ones that are going to get you arrested, thrown in jail.
They're the ones in control of each of the sectors.
Yeah. Yep. And they bring up everything that's going on. Hey, there was a disturbance on Ferrix and blah, blah, blah.
The hell you think you're doing?
I'm having a good time, but that cat looks like it's going to pounce and climb up on that wall again.
And that's why I asked her what the hell she thinks she was doing. It's already happened once.
On air. It was wonderful.
And yes, it was. And I would not put it past this one to do it again. And now, right up to the side here, I've got this little space where it's not wide. She has half of her body in there right now.
Nice.
See if I can get a picture.
Well, from there, they're saying, hey, listen, we got to do what we got to do. We got to investigate this. We got to see what's going on. All right, we're going to send a team down, which makes sense. But now Ferrix becomes under Imperial control because they screwed up. And, well, they screwed up. Simple as that. They screwed up. So we see them talking about that. We see them trying to find information on things and so on and so forth when it comes to that. And to be honest, it sounds like the ISB is very organized, but it's also sounding like the ISB is one of those agencies that sweeps things under the rug.
Right.
At least that's what I was getting that feeling of. That it's like, hey, be done with it, So I was still a little confused by the ISB and their role. Obviously, as the episodes have gone on, that role has changed. And my thoughts on it have changed, which is A-okay to do. It's A-okay. So from there, I like that that we're seeing another side of things. We're seeing kind of like the underworld of Coruscant,
Yeah.
Mon Mothma gets introduced. If you don't know who she is a senator in the Galactic Senate who is also the leader of the rebellion. She's the one.
One thing that I found really, really interesting and really, really realistic was the dressing down that happened with the sergeant, the assistant general inspector who was the leader of the mission that got all messed up.
Yeah.
And some other dude. I don't know who the other dude was.
So
all three of them are standing there at the position of attention. And just, and the dude in the middle's like, I wasn't even involved in this thing.
Yeah. So that was Chief Inspector Hine. He was the one who told the guy to drop it.
Yep.
He was off-world. He was on Coruscant. Okay. Then you had Deputy Inspector Karn and Sergeant Mosk. So there's your three guys. Okay. Oh boy.
I'm sorry. I want to say hi to World's Best Daughter, who's my daughter, Kaylin. And I just gave her husband a heart attack.
Why? Because you're talking Star Wars?
No. I'll read. I sent him a message just before the start of the show. And I told him, I says, I hate to tell you this, Timmy, but I don't like you anymore, and you have to divorce my daughter. But I did put LMAO after that when I sent it.
Well, that sounds like a topic of discussion for tomorrow for sure.
Yes, it is.
You've been warned, folks. You've been warned. So
Kaylin, tell Timmy that he's okay. Nothing to worry about.
me, on the other hand, that's debatable. We'll go from there.
Right.
So back to the ISB. You can tell that the Imperial, the ISB is pissed
Big time.
at what happened on Ferrix, to the point where the deputy inspector loses his job. And this was something that I didn't know actually happened in Star Wars until this episode, that you lose your job under the Empire, you are like ostracized. You become a victim, like if you were leaving the Amish. Okay? Mm-hmm. So if you grew up Amish, you lived Amish, your life was the Amish. Right. And you decide, hey, you know what? I kind of like this technology thing. And you leave. You're never welcomed back.
Right.
Ever. You can't even go to funerals of family members.
Right.
This is basically what's happening to the deputy inspector. He lost everything. And not only that, but it tarnished his family.
Right. I love what happened when he got to the door.
Oh, when his mother opened the door and slapped him right across the face?
Slapped him right across the face and then hugged him.
Oh.
He was standing there like,
what the hell just happened?
What?
Well, while that's all going on, obviously, you know, and this ties back to that article you read, that Andor is not just about him. It's about every major player behind the scenes starting the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah, we meet a lot. We find out a lot about and meet a lot of people that are starting this fledgling rebellion.
Yeah.
And everything. And it's really neat. I mean, I love, as it says in the show, what they're trying to do is a suicide mission.
Yes.
But I love what they're doing.
Yeah.
I love what they're doing. Yeah, because it, like he said in the ship, you know, this can do some major damage.
Major damage.
So
they get to a moon or planet called Aldani, mm-hmm. which is where this heist is going to be happening. And it's a matter of days before the heist is even taking place. So Andor, who now has to go under the name by Clem, calls himself Clem, because he doesn't want his actual name out there. Rail doesn't want his name out there. The only person who knows the real name is the person running the whole show. Okay?
I like how he was like, okay, think of a name. Pick a name. And
Clem.
Cassian picks Clem. Where Clem came from, I don't know.
I don't know either, but it worked.
But he picked Clem. Probably easy to remember.
Shaves his beard. Like, he's got a whole new appearance. It's wonderful.
Right? And he's like, okay, you're Clem for the next 5 days.
Okay. I can be Clem. And then he meets up with Vel. And Vel is the one who is running the show. Rips Rail a new one. But at the same time, he's like, you can't do this without him. He needs to be able to do this.
You're man short. You need extra help. Redundancy is what they call it.
Yep.
You need redundancy, and this man gives you that.
He's the guy.
And he convinces her to tell the rest of the group.
Yes.
That
he
was always planning on bringing him in. What was it that she told her? I was always planning on bringing him in, but I didn't know if we were going to be able to get him here in time.
Yes.
So that's why I didn't say anything about it.
Yes. And it was
Realistic. Very
very
realistic.
realistic. I mean, think about it. That's almost like saying, "Hey, listen, I got a bounty to put out on somebody, but I don't know if I can pay you."
Right.
You know, that's basically what it is. So
Pay it, but it's going to take me a little time to get the money together.
yeah.
No big deal.
So in this case, obviously he's got months and months and months of planning to now catch up on.
Right.
And this will happen in the next couple of episodes, and we will break that down a little bit, because I thought that was the most intriguing part. The other thing,
and again, their realism in this show, because and they keep pounding it home in this episode, with their conversation on the ship, and with his and her conversation when they got to the ground, convincing her to let her in, her realizing I really don't have a choice on this.
Yeah.
And her lying convincingly to her people. But the funny part of it was when they were on their way back, one, they avoided the 2 TIE fighters that went by because they were going to get patrol.
Yep, they were doing patrol. Mm-hmm.
And then they show the guy gun across his chest, sleeping on guard duty.
Yes.
Now, if that's not realism, I don't know what is.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We also get introduced to Senator Mon Mothma. So she's now there. She's meeting with Rael and his assistant Clea.
I love the transformation.
Yes. Yeah, I like that. I like that they did that whole transformation with him and changing his hair and everything.
Yeah, I like that they showed that because it made it even more realistic of what was going on.
Yeah. Now the other thing is his assistant Clea. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie. When I first heard the name, I thought it was Leia.
Yeah,
because I didn't hear the K sound.
Yeah, all I heard was Leah.
Yeah, you heard Leah. I didn't hear Clea. Right. So it's not.
And the same to me.
It's not. That would have been like the icing on the cake if it was. That would have been a great tie-in. But again, at this point in time, we don't know if Leia was actually a senator or not.
Right.
We don't. We don't.
Sure, that will reveal itself down the road.
I'm sure it will eventually. So we have Clea, and she is very well versed in what's going on in the network, in the rebel network, which becomes a name a little bit later on. So we're starting to see the emergence of the rebellion. We're starting to see the main players, and we're also seeing the heist. And they kind of start going over everything with Andor. And
you mean
boy, but he's Andor. The one thing that I loved about this was he questioned everything. That he saw flaws in their plan right away.
And that's just it. His perceived flaws.
Yes.
Because they sat there, and anybody who has any kind of military experience or knows anything about how military missions are actually planned and formed, I had to take my glasses off for this one.
Yep.
When a mission is being planned, and this is for those who are outside the military brain frame, I guess you could say.
Yep.
When a mission is being planned, a lot of times, I would say probably 90% of the time, they do what's called a sand table.
Okay.
And for those who don't know what a sand table is a display, basically, of the area that they're going to be attacking. Okay, it shows all the roads, it shows all the buildings, well, not all the buildings, but where the buildings are, shows rivers and streams, and bridges and trees, a whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And they sit there and they run through the entire mission. Okay, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to come up here and we're going to do this and we're going to do that and all this stuff. And it lays everything out because for military personnel, if they're able to visualize it, it makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
You can lay things out in a way where people can visualize, especially for the military, because a lot of it is visualization. It makes it easier to understand. It also makes it easier to remember.
Yeah.
And that's what I really liked about this, is because they had a freaking sand table.
Oh, yeah.
Even in, the 2100 or whatever freaking year it is, they have sand tables. I love this.
They had a rock and wood model.
Yep. Oh, they had the layout of the building. He actually lifted the top off of the building so that they could see inside. The area, and we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to take this freighter ship out through the tunnel and fly away.
And we can do it.
And Clem's like, are you stupid?
How are you going to do that?
There's no way. You've got the Empire's air base 52 minutes away. In a TIE fighter, it's going to take them 9 minutes to get. They actually timed it out. It's 9 minutes to get from there to here.
9 minutes. Craziness.
You're not even going to make it out of the atmosphere before you get shot out of the sky.
Right. Which is when they mention the Eye of Aldani. The Eye of Aldani situation. And
this is the thing that I love about it, because they know it's a suicide mission, but they looked at everything. And that's the timing with any kind of operation is everything.
Yes.
And so they, that's how deep they went into this, was they even had plans for their escape. Distraction. Distraction is everything.
And
I just love the way they did that.
And a possible weapon, if you think about it.
Yep.
Because all the Eye of Aldani is a meteor shower.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all it is. Only it was described as what was it? If I remember correctly, it was crystals going through the atmosphere and exploding. Is basically what it was.
Meteorites hitting the atmosphere and exploding.
Yep.
I loved the line, from the ground, very pretty. In the sky, not so much.
Deadly. Deadly.
In the sky, not so much. Deadly. Yep.
So
I love that. That was funny as hell.
So the other thing happens is that we kind of end with the ISB talking about what was it, intra-office friction.
Yes, because the piece of equipment that they found when they almost captured Cassian.
Yes.
Was a piece of equipment that came from this lady's district, which brought it partially under her purview, but the guy who was in charge of the thing says no.
Well, there's three different instances.
Rivalry going on.
Yeah, there were 3 different instances. So she's putting it together. She's saying, hey,
I'm seeing a pattern.
This is the pattern. We're going to see more of this. We need to get in front of it. And a lot of them are going, meh.
Well, even the guy in charge, he's like, because she made the mistake of saying, my gut tells me.
Yeah, and you don't do
And the boss is like, your gut doesn't mean anything. Yeah. You came here with a very, very good reputation.
Yeah.
For your skills and your organization and blah, 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 and everything else. You're on the verge of screwing it up.
Yeah. And you don't want that.
You
don't want that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we cut back to the other part where Andor is now told that he needs to know the specs of the freighter, as well as as well as get his wound on his arm all fixed up, and he does.
Right.
And he does.
Right.
But all in all, I'm liking how they're tying everything together. Yeah, it is slow moving. It is.
Yeah, a little bit.
But for good reason.
Yeah, I mean, they have to build everything up. They have to give you the background history, because if they jump in the middle of this, you wouldn't know what was going on.
And let's face it, we already know who the bad guys are.
Right.
We know the Empire killed all the Jedi. Enough said.
Right.
They're the bad guy. Well, not all the Jedi. We at least know that there's 39 that are still alive at this point in time. But that's besides the point. Okay, we know the Empire's the bad guys here. This is the turning point of the Empire's rule.
Right.
Okay? Because if you think about it, A New Hope is 18 to 20 years after Revenge of the Sith.
Right.
Give or take. I could probably get the exact dates. Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope timeline. Let's do it that way. 19 years. 19 years between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. So there you go.
Good time span.
A lot of time to cover. Span. So right now, Luke and Leia are only 14 years old.
Right. They haven't even started to get into the rebellion yet.
Yep.
Well, Leia started earlier than Luke did, but you know.
Well, yeah, we know that. But all in all, it's happening.
There's one thing that happened in the episode that I don't want to forget,
which is B.
And okay, so when we meet the senator's wife, the lady that's the head of the rebellion,
Mon Mothma.
Mothra, yeah, Mon Mothra. When we meet her, she's buying a birthday present. Is the premises of why she's there.
Yes.
And, she tells Real that, she has somebody that she trusts that she wants to bring in. He's like, I don't think so. And she's like, well, basically, I'm going to do it anyway. But then she goes back home, and her husband is a very high up senator, and he has decided to have a dinner party.
Yes.
And she finds out who, she looks at the seating chart and she's like, wait a minute, you're bringing all these people here and they hate me? They don't like me. They want to kill me. They don't think I should be here. And I love it because the whole conversation ends with her walking away and him going, now I heard something about a present. And she goes, yeah, I'm sending it back.
Yup. Bye. So long and farewell. But
I just wanted to get that in there because I think that's going to be very, very vital to what happens in the next few episodes.
Sure. And I think, listen, I'm already calling it, okay?
Uh-huh.
Shit's going to hit the fan between the two of them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, she's pissed as hell at him because he's bringing these people into her home.
She is...
And these people do not like her at all.
She is a rebellion sympathizer, and he is an Imperial sympathizer.
Yep.
Enough said.
It's going to blow up. I think he's going to end up dead, and she's going to disappear. She's going to go into hiding.
Or maybe she will, like maybe they'll do like a fake her death type of thing. Because we see her in Return of the Jedi. We also see her in Rogue One. So we know she's there.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Something's going to happen. Like you said, it's going to blow up. Something's going to blow up between the two of them. He's going to go his way. She's going to go her way. But how are they going to make this separation? And I think faking her death, like you said, would probably be the best way to do it.
In some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
It really is.
I would have to agree.
So, if we were to rate these episodes, how many Rebel Alliance logos would you give it?
I'm still sitting in the middle. I'm still sitting at 3.
Perfect. Like I said, that's if we were rating them. right?
It's yeah, because I mean it's just a generic ranking,
Yep, just
and
generic.
it's kind of they're still in the history
Yes.
phase of everything, showing how everything came to be. So I think I'm hoping, my hope is, and you already know because you've watched them,
Yes.
but my hope is that from episode 5 at the latest episode 6, whenever they do the raid, we don't know for sure that it's successful, but we know that Clem Cassian survives. So I'm thinking that's where we're going to we're going to cut way back on the history and the flashbacks and the tie-ins and all that stuff. And this is where it's really going to start taking off. So
Yep.
I'm hoping to not have to go with just a generic 3 after the next 2 episodes. I'm hoping.
It's a good thought.
I mean, I'm loving the show. And you know me, I love background. I love history, especially when it comes to stuff like this.
Uh-huh.
So I'm loving it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not seeing enough to move it beyond that midway point at this point.
Only time will tell, my friend. But don't worry, it's getting good. It's getting real
It is.
good.
It is. I like the, I liked how at the end the guy, they were all sitting around the campfire there at the end and eating dinner and everything.
Yep.
And the guy came over and sat down and gave him basically this tablet. And, he said, you know how to use one of these? And yeah, I do. And he goes through all this stuff. And then the leader lady goes, well, he asks if he's able to eat because he was told that he had to learn all of this by tomorrow morning. He had to memorize all of this by tomorrow morning. And he's like, well, am I allowed to eat? And she goes, finish your meal. Let her check your bandage. And then get to work.
Get to work. Absolutely.
And I'll take first shift, and she heads off to do her thing. And but I love how they did that. It's like you got 3 days to learn this crap.
Get to work.
So get to work.
You got
this. You better have it memorized by tomorrow morning.
You got it. Well, folks, that is our conversation.
You never gave your rating.
Oh, I'm at like 3.5, 4 right now, but it's getting bigger. It's getting bigger.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a little harder for you to do a true rating because
I'm so
know
far
what's
ahead.
coming.
Yeah, I'm so far ahead.
I think that's kind of influencing your ratings a little bit, just a little bit.
So I'm gonna say it's at a 4 right now for both episodes because there's a lot happening, and a lot that's gonna continue to happen, and I can't talk about it right now. We'll do it next week.
And that's the thing is, even with everything that's happening, they've kept it at a good pace.
Yep, and it's just gonna keep going.
Like we said, it's not a slow pace, but it's a deliberate pace. There's a difference between the two. It's not a lot, but there is a difference.
Yeah.
It's a deliberate pace, and you can feel it starting to pick up as we get it towards the end of episode 4.
Just you wait. Just you wait. All right, everybody. I'm Sully, and for JT, that is 2 Ewoks in the park tonight. We hope you are enjoying Andor as well as we are, because let's face it, it is actually really, really good. It's really good. I love it.
I sent you a picture in Discord chat if you want to show that before we go off the air. Or you can save it for tomorrow.
We'll save it for tomorrow because it has nothing to do with Star Wars.
Well, I didn't mind because I was squeezing into a really small space.
That is quite funny, though. So, for JT and myself, thank you all for tuning in tonight. We will see you tomorrow on The Sully Show at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We hope you had a great evening, and we'll see you next time. Have a great night, everybody. Hasta la bye-bye.